Mafia podcast. My name is Waylon.
My name is Rios.
We're here in Stockton, California, at This Is Stockton, Not LA. This is our first one. We're going to see how it goes. We did one not too long ago, just audio, but it kind of got fucked up.
Yeah, we did a really good first run, but I feel like it was, it was kind of fucked up.
Yeah, we did it through a PS4.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit more professional, a little more professional setup.
So we're gonna try our best to give you guys like a breakdown of this past weekend's events involving Bellator.
Bellator had two cards, one on Friday, one on Saturday, and then the UFC had their first ever straight to ESPN card with Ngannou and Velasquez.
So what did you gather from the Bellator fights?
I didn't really watch the Friday night card other than the main event because those are the only guys that I really knew a lot about, with Mitrione and Sergey Karatanov. And it was anticlimactic because Matt Mitrione threw a leg kick and it hit Sergey Karatanov right in the groin, and he fell on the ground writhing in pain, and he could not continue. So that was only 15 seconds into the bout, and the ref waved it off. No contest.
I didn't watch the fight. I'll be honest about that. I did not watch it. But how did you feel about that stoppage? Did you feel like he could have continued?
I don't think so.
What did they give him, like a 5-minute period?
They gave him time, but it was like a knockout. It was like a body shot. So if you get hit in the liver and you kind of fall down writhing in pain, the ref
shut his body down.
Yeah, basically. The ref calls it off because there's no way. He's just gonna, if you allow it to continue, he's just gonna get pummeled. So that's why they kind of even about. It was like I equated it to like getting hit in the liver and then going down and writhing in pain. It's the same thing. He got hit right in a vital organ, his nutsack, and I heard that he wasn't able to continue.
I don't know the truth to this, but I heard that his actual like sack like busted.
I wouldn't be surprised. It was one of the worst. It was one of the worst groin shots I've ever seen. Pretty bad. So that was the only fight I really paid attention to. The second night of fights I was really looking forward to. They had the main event was Michael Venom Page,
and we talked about that fight a lot.
Yeah,
leading up to this.
Paul Semtex Daly. They're both from England. The fight was in London, and it
was a super grudge. This is probably the biggest grudge match that they ever had in Bellator
legitimate
history.
Grudge match, because they kind of created some fake ones between Bonner and Tito and stuff. And
but we know as hardcore MMA fans, or like even like I think casual Bellator fans would understand, this was like not just like, we're gonna see these two guys from England go at it. Mm-hmm. Like this was a legit grudge match.
A lot of trash talking for past couple of years. The fight was a good fight, but it didn't live up to the hype, because you got two knockout strikers, one very different style, one very Muay Thai based, kickboxing based, and one very karate taekwondo based. And he was in his like taekwondo karate stance for a lot of the beginning of the fight, and then Paul Daly didn't really do what he said he was going to do. He didn't stand and bang like he likes to do, and like he said he was
either of them did what they wanted to do.
Well, I feel like Daly turned it into a grappling match, because I don't think he felt like he could get inside, because for a 170, Page is so tall and so long, and Daly's like a normal sized welterweight. He's got kind of short arms.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get inside. I think he felt he wasn't going to be able to get inside, and he I don't know if it was his plan to turn into a grappling match. It seemed like that was his game plan. So that kind of bummed me out. I mean, I can't hate on the guy.
Yeah, it was probably his coaches telling him to, because I mean, who wants to strike? Who wants to stand and strike with someone as like diverse as MVP?
That's the thing. Daly's striking is good, but he has less dimensions to his striking than Page has. He bases his striking more off his power, where Michael Venom Page doesn't need to have power. He'll just tag you up until you can't continue anymore.
He has that creativity where like
he doesn't need to be on the inside like Daly does.
He can create space from wherever he's at, and like Daly, he has power. Like he has really strong
good
power
hooks.
in his hands.
Good hooks.
He has very good hooks.
Yep.
I feel like maybe his team told him to do something different. maybe go in there, try to grapple, wear out MVP, and then I feel like
he was landing some power shots from when he had it on the top. Yeah, and I think he was trying to pin Page to the cage and kind of like throw the hooks from there.
And he got him with a few good ones actually. Yeah,
it was good. It was a good game plan. I just think I don't think he won over any fans because I think he talked so much shit and it was kind of hypocritical because he hates when people land prey on him, like Fitch and Koscheck, obviously when he got kicked out of the UFC because he thought Koscheck talked a lot of trash. He said he was going to stand and bang, and he didn't, which was a smart move. And Daly really got his feelings hurt and threw the cheap shot after the fight was already over.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that, go back and look up that fight, Paul Daly versus Josh Koscheck. That was a funny ending.
It was funny because there's a lot of social media trash talk. Daly did a lot of it. He instigated a lot of it and was having the fans make funny photoshops of Koscheck. If you remember, Koscheck had the curly blonde hair. And Koscheck said he was gonna. Yeah, Koscheck said he was gonna stand and bang, but he laid and prayed the whole time, and it was a really boring fight. It was similar to this fight. They both said they were gonna stand and bang, and this time Daly was the one kind of doing the stalling and the wrestling and not really trying to get into a striking match. He stayed away. He kept running in the first round, especially.
It was probably smart for him too, though.
Well, smart.
Think about it.
I think Venom Page is just that good. I think Venom Page wasn't impressed with his performance, but when you're presented with that, Daly didn't give him any opportunities to kind of showcase his striking ability, and Page was still able to withstand the grappling exchanges and still come out with a unanimous decision. But Daly is also not the most competent grappler. I think if
he has a lot of holes.
I'm trying to think if I would like to see. This was part of the tournament, wasn't it? This is part of the welterweight tournament.
I believe it was.
So
yes.
This is like the first welterweight fight in the tournament.
Yeah.
I think Rory McDonald and John Fitch could. I don't know if they could beat Venom Page. I'd like to see a good grappler fight Venom Page because Paul Daly.
I think Rory can beat MVP.
Yeah, and I could see Rory getting knocked out if he doesn't fight smart.
Yeah.
But he's been doing that whole takedown thing. I think he realizes his best game is to get the takedown and in ground and pound and submissions, like he did against Paul Daly, like he did against Lima, where he got fucked up against Lima, and I don't know if everyone thought he won the fight. I had him winning the fight based on rounds. It wasn't like this is the thing, like when people watch a fight and they kind of sometimes the fans judge it the old Pride way where they judge it as the totality,
like the full
they judge
full
it like a street fight. Like in a street fight, whoever lands the most strikes wins the street fight,
because they'll give like one guy can win the first 2 rounds, but if the last guy wins the last round so significantly, yes, then they're gonna give it to that guy.
Usually. Pride kind of judged it that way. And
are you mad at the way they judged it?
No,
I kind of like that.
You like it that way?
Kind of.
When you judge it that way, it leaves it up too much. It's not as black and white. It's way discretionary when you judge it like on the totality of a fight. I like it being more sport based round by round because then you have even though as a purist, I still like it. I don't like controversy. I don't like people saying this guy won or this when really it was more obvious that the other guy won. So I like scoring it round by round. And whoever wins more rounds wins the fight, not who did the most damage in this round. Even though maybe he did more damage in this one round than the other guy did in the other 4, I still think whoever won the most rounds wins.
How would you feel about if a fighter got completely dominated for the first 2 rounds of a fight, but dominated by only wrestling? No, like strikes, nothing like that. Just straight up wrestling. Got like held down, didn't do much damage, And then the 3rd round got starched, like on the feet.
Like a 10-8 round. So he dominates wrestling-wise and gets 2 10-9 rounds. And then in the 3rd round, the striker stops the takedowns and gets a 10-8 round. Maybe drops him 3 times or something.
So yeah, it would have to be something significant for it to valid for this.
And it's a 3-round fight too.
That would be.
I'm trying to think. So, man, that's a tough one. That would be a draw.
You think so?
And I would be happy with the draw. I think there should be more draws. So it'd
be like a 10-9, 10-9, and then a 10-8.
10-8.
How would that equal out? I'm not good at math.
So it goes 10, 10, 8 is 28, and then you go 9 and 9 is 18 plus 10 is 28. Yeah, so it's a draw.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
So I think that would be a draw, and I think they should do that more. And last night, Sunday night for the ESPN card for UFC.
That fucking
they did. But that was one of the first events where they had the new unified MMA rules, and they were supposed to give out. There wasn't a lot of fights that could warrant a 10-8. Excuse me, but they're going to, with the new MMA unified rules, they're going to start doing allowing the judges, encouraging the judges to hand out more 10-8 rounds. Not necessarily, when they were explaining the rules, it says to get a 10-8, it doesn't even have to be a full 5 minutes domination. It could be just you did way more damage than the guy, maybe didn't land any punches or anything on you, but you dropped him 2 times. Maybe not some like flash knockout style dropping of your opponent, but you just dropped him. More like when Yoel Romero fought Robert Whittaker the second time. I don't think they scored those 10-8 rounds. Those should have been 10-8 rounds. Well, the ones that Romero won.
Wait, in the second fight?
In the second fight.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I felt like Whittaker came out with a decision. I would have given Romero one 10-8 round, one 10-9 round, and then the other 3 10-9 rounds for
I completely agree with that.
I felt like
the second one was so much closer.
It was very close, and I could see where some people wanted Romero to win. I know a lot of big name personalities in MMA, like Joe Rogan, thought.
Well, could you imagine if Yoel was the champion?
That'd been rough because didn't he miss weight for that fight? He missed weight for that. Yeah, he missed weight for that.
The second one. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
so
he did.
It worked out in UFC's favor because that would have been a shit show. There would have been no champion. Or Whittaker would have still been the champion.
Yeah, because he wouldn't have been able to compete for the title.
And they would have had to fight a third time.
You're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, he did. He wasn't able to compete for the belt, but he was fighting the champion.
And people thought it was unfair because he came in overweight against Rockhold when he knocked Rockhold the fuck out. When he dropped him and then hit him with that hook that just was... It was nasty. That's the second time Rockhold had been knocked out like that.
That's the crazy thing about Yoel, too, is that he can just, he can coast for, most of the round and shit.
I think that's a strategy because he's got so much muscle. I think he has to coast. Because if you remember when he fought Tim Kennedy...
You don't want to burn all that energy at first. You want to, if you're that big...
Any one of his strikes is powerful enough to knock out anyone in the middleweight division.
Yeah. If you're that big and you have to carry that weight with you, you want to try and keep it reserved.
Yeah, he's very intelligent in the way that he fights. I don't think he can't fight. I think that's some of the reason people think Woodley's kind of boring. I think Woodley knows that he can't exert when you're that if you want to be that muscular, it gives you the advantage and the power and the striking and controlling someone, but it also gives you the disadvantage where you only have so much energy each round. So I think Tyron does a really good job of conserving his energy for that one moment where, boom, he's going to drop Stephen Thompson in both fights, and boom, he's going to try to choke him out with that guillotine choke. Just that one moment in the round. Or
I think there are two styles. They just went against each other.
Oh, in the Thompson and Stephen Thompson? Yeah. And I didn't hate those fights. I don't know about you. I didn't hate them.
I didn't like them, but I understand them.
To me, it's the same thing. I know you don't watch football. I equated it to the most recent Super Bowl.
I watch some football.
Yeah.
I'm a Niners fan.
Same here. The most recent Super Bowl with the Patriots and the Rams in early February. People didn't like it because there wasn't a lot of scoring, not a lot of offense. But the reason it was so great is because anything that happens, one, it was such a defensive, tactical matchup. But two, anything that happens is the whole game. So no, nothing was happening. The defenses were stalling out the offenses. But you get one pass over the middle and he's wide open and he makes a touchdown. Boom, that one move is the whole game. It wasn't like the Super Bowl previous where every single drive was a touchdown, to where that one drive wasn't that big. It wasn't big a deal.
Okay,
so the same thing with the Stephen Thompson and the Woodley fights. Any one move is the fight.
Yeah.
Any one wrong move.
But that's the difference between fighting and sports like basketball, football, baseball. You can win or lose a game, but you might still be in the picture. Mm-hmm. You win or lose at fighting, it makes up your fucking future.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. So that's why you have to fight. That's why when people get mad at Tyron for fighting boring against Damian Maia or fighting boring against Steven, it's look, against Thompson's a way bigger guy.
He might be setting up a fucking fight with George St. Pierre.
Exactly, and he loses that title. He doesn't get that money. He doesn't get those pay-per-view points, and he won't get the big money fights like Conor or George. But so you want to stay champion. That's why people hated on George a little bit for his style near the end of his career, but man, he was the long. You won't make the Hall of Fame if you go out there and get knocked out by Nick Diaz or Johnny Hendricks. So you got
like Carlos Condit.
Carlos Condit, you almost did get knocked out. So once you get to a certain point, you're just trying to keep that title, so you keep making the extra bucks.
Should we talk about? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Sure. No.
Should we talk about the Nick Diaz post?
Oh yeah, I totally felt I get where he was coming from. He wants to fight, and I kind of on the just so you guys know, this podcast derives from the Instagram page of Robert's Instagram, the MMA Mafia, and he reposted Nick Diaz's post. I don't know if you guys saw, saying to summarize it, he was saying, I'm not going to fight if the money's not right, and when the money's right, he'll come back.
Do you think he deserves the money?
That's the thing. I feel like this.
Or do you think he's asking for too much?
I don't think so. I think the fighters don't make enough. I was listening to the Fight Companion with Joe Rogan last night, and they pulled up how much money Ryan Bader made as the champ in Bellator, where you're supposed to be making more money. He made $150,000 to win the heavyweight title.
Really?
I'm like, what? That just didn't make sense. And you're the champ. And with sponsors...
That's not sponsors? Or?
No, that's his base pay. And with sponsors, like Brendan Schaub is an expert at sponsors. He was making more money than anyone else.
Yeah,
he said, hey, I guarantee you his sponsors at the most $100,000. So $250,000 to win a tournament and be champion in your two heaviest divisions at the same time, and you're making $150,000.
And they always promise that they are going to pay their fighters more than the UFC.
Yeah,
will.
I think that's that is more money.
That's how they bribe a lot of fighters.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
But I think that is more money than Bader was making than UFC. And it's like, man, they're
still shit.
They're putting so much at risk, and they're putting their livelihood on the line just for us to enjoy. And they're making enough money that's only going to last them a couple of years sometimes. And I feel like fighters...
That's why I want to ask about Nick Diaz, because how long has it been since he fought? And can you remember the last time he actually won a fight?
BJ Penn, his first fight back in the UFC.
UFC 137 or
yeah.
what? Yeah.
I watched that at Buffalo Wild Wings in the waiting area.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what Nick Diaz said,
and to me, like I was hella rooting for him. I was glad he won, but I feel like it was an old BJ Penn. You know, that's your last.
You don't want to see someone like a legend like BJ Penn go, get their ass beat like that.
And that's your last one. I mean, I think when I watched him versus Carlos Condit a bunch of times, I watched it over and over and over.
I thought Nick won that fight.
I thought Nick won the fight too. Carlos did more damage, but I feel like Nick won. Nick was pressuring the whole time. I think he landed more punches. Carlos may have landed more total strikes because he threw a lot of leg kicks, but he was running the whole time, and nothing really happened in that fight. So when that happens and nothing's really happening, but someone's pressuring and throwing more strikes, being more aggressive, got the only takedown, took his back right away. We can get to that in a little bit, where he should have probably just done that from the get-go.
Condit was doing that thing that you see a lot of fighters do now, where they get pressured too much and they turn their back to the fighter.
Yeah.
Like you said, running.
He literally turned his back and would run away.
Yeah.
That was funny because he was the natural-born killer, and up to that point, he was...
They try to call it, like, resetting.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't buy that.
Nah, not turning your back and running away, yeah. And...
we saw Overeem did that with someone, didn't he?
Overeem did that, and he won that fight. No, you're right. I think against Stipe, you're right.
Yeah,
he lost that fight.
He ran from Stipe.
I mean,
he got caught eventually.
The thing about Overeem is he's fighting in the heavyweight division, and Overeem's chin is glass.
Yeah, and any heavyweight can win any fight.
When you have a glass jaw because you've been knocked out a bunch of times, and you're fighting the heavyweight division, and you're old, that's the only time.
And he's had, like, how many fucking fights in MMA?
So many fights, and kickboxing.
MMA, kickboxing, he's been all over the place.
He's fighting.
And he's won a title in almost every major organization.
UFC. Yeah. He had Dream, he had K1. At one time, he was the Strikeforce heavyweight champion, Dream heavyweight champion, which is the Japanese organization, which used to be Pride, I think. And he was the K1 kickboxing champion, all at the same time. Highly coveted. He was also juicing to the max, but I don't care. I celebrate that stuff.
Juice them up.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't care either. I celebrate that shit.
Okay, so here's what Nick Diaz said. I'm no role model. I'm 35 years old, but I definitely wouldn't advise anybody to take a fight for less than they're worth or fight for free, which is practically what I would be doing at this point in taking a fight with some of these guys that are not on my level. Nor would I be within my moral ethics to even do that aside from you painting me as a role model. If there was an offer I couldn't refuse, things would be different. Until they are, I would like to continue to think I've been fighting to make the world a better place. But until I can do that, quote unquote, I don't want to hurt nobody. I just want to party.
He's quoting himself from after Anderson called him out. And he said, "I don't want to hurt anyone." I feel him on. I think someone also commented on there. You should stop drinking. It's bad for your health. And he's like, "I don't drink." I was like,
he drinks.
Oh, does he?
He fucking drinks. I've drank with him
for sure. I think he's right. I don't know if he's made the world a better place. I think maybe he, in his mind, and it's hard to argue, he's trying to set an example that the fighters shouldn't fight for less than what they feel they're worth or less than what they're putting on the line. So, and I agree with that. I'm always on the side of. Look, I love Dana White. I love Scott Coker. I love the NFL. But I'm always on the side of the players, the fighters, the talent. Because without the talent, the big people at the top don't make any money. You know what I mean? Maybe they could do some other venture if they're a smart businessman. But without the talent, you don't make any money. And I feel like the fighters should be making more money because they're the ones that are risking everything.
Fighters don't get paid shit.
They don't. And it's super sad to see, especially like longtime veterans like, what was it, Cole Miller, I think?
Dude,
was still
Cole
on like
Miller's...
a 20-20 contract. And
yeah.
He was like over 10 fights in the UFC. Like, dude, you got to pay these guys more, and I know you could do it. And so it's like I don't even care if I feel like there should be a baseline salary based on the risk they're putting their bodies in and their health, and then that's much higher that these people can pay their trainers, pay their medical bills, get they don't have to live in a mansion, but a nice house in a safe area, and be able to live this semi-normal life. Because if you're struggling to pay your trainer, or you're struggling to have a house to live in, and your life is tumultuous, and I mean, you may be a good fighter, but you don't sell pay-per-views because you're not a shit talker, you don't manufacture fake beef, so you're not going to make the big bucks. So I think they should come somehow, maybe not unionize. I know some people hate unions, but come to some sort of fighter agreement where we're not going to fight for less than this. And then once we reach a certain level, based on how much pay-per-views we sell, then we can start talking pay-per-view points and getting a higher salary. But I think they need all around to have the floor needs to rise for like the low level. I
completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you about this thing. I noticed like the sort of pattern the UFC has where they bring in like someone who is maybe like a 4-0 fighter or a 5-0 fighter, or someone who's undefeated, but. Let's be real. Like, it's not like they're like 20-0 like Thomas Almeida was at one point. Mm-hmm. But they're bringing in these like up and comers, and then they're like kind of feeding them to the sharks. But they also like put more eyes on those fighters than they would
like Kron Gracie.
Well, I would
4-0.
Yeah,
but they brought him in against a guy who's fought in the UFC for a long time.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what
they were promoting
expected.
Kron more than
I don't know what they expect. They probably thought that Gracie name would sell it, and it. I mean, fuck, I watched it.
I think he could be a big UFC star.
But what I mean is like guys like how they brought in like Sage Northcutt, Paige Van Zandt when she was undefeated, and how do you feel about like that when they do that?
They bring them in and it's like their guy, so they hype them up more.
They're on Metro PCS commercials. They're the face of the UFC.
They get the prelim headlining spot.
But then there's like Nate Diaz. The only way Nate Diaz is gonna get like a big picture like that is if he fights Conor again.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that kind of shit?
I think when they do that, the stuff with Paige and with Sage, I think people like us, we know that's bullshit. We know like they're not. Sage and Paige, they're pretty faces.
They don't suck at fighting.
They don't suck at fighting, but their skills don't match their hype. And I shouldn't say their skills. I think they're both very skilled. They're what they've shown in their fights don't match their hype. Maybe they haven't fought to their potential yet. I don't know. I don't know them, And
Paige just won her last fight though.
Against Ostovich by armbar. Yeah. But the thing is, I feel like Ostovich too is
very green in that.
Yeah,
area.
I don't think she's a high level MMA fighter. So maybe Paige probably should have won that fight.
Yeah. Oh well, no, of course she was supposed to win that fight.
I know people probably
and now
for Rachel.
Sage is with 1FC.
And I like one. Demetrius Johnson has said he likes one because he's like, I'm not gonna shit talk. I don't do that. And I feel like traditional martial arts are the way to go, to be respectful, bow.
They're the Pride fans.
Yep.
They are the Pride fans over there.
And there wasn't a whole lot of grudge matches in Pride. And Demetrius doesn't want to have to sell the fight. He just wants to train, show up and fight. So it's perfect for him. He's not into the manufactured beef.
So what would you think if Demetrius Johnson goes over there? He will most likely win whatever belt they have. Mm-hmm. Maybe go on like, how many fights can he win? You know?
Yeah.
Do you think it makes sense for the UFC to bring him back in, or do you think he isn't?
Sounds like they're gonna fold up their flyweight division, so I don't think he will unless he comes back at 135. But I think the 135ers are too big for DJ.
Wasn't the division saved?
I don't think so.
By Henry Cejudo?
I don't think. This is the thing. I like Henry too, but he wants to save the division, but then now fight TJ at 135. It's like, dude, you just saved the division. You need to stay at 125. You can't say you're going to be the savior of the flyweights, and then now you're going to go at 135 and stall your division out, and then lose interest in the 125s. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think Dana was going to keep that division alive no matter what, even if Henry won the fight. I don't think Dana was going to. I know nothing. I'm not an insider.
Yeah.
You're more of an insider than I am. And I don't think...
I like to prefer Outsider.
Outsider, yeah.
You ever read The Outsiders?
No.
The book? The Outsiders?
No, I haven't read it.
Ponyboy?
Is it fiction?
Maybe.
I'm a non-fiction book reader, but I read comic books.
Should we talk about this last weekend's event?
UFC?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, we should. What was the first fight that piqued your interest on that card?
There was a lot of them that got me drawn in.
We can pull them up on your phone. Let's see what we got.
Excuse me for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, while I pull up this card on my phone.
The first time they did it right, and next weekend they're coming back to the same format.
It was also the first live event on ESPN.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. So the first ESPN event was on the first one was on the Fight Pass. Then you had to go to ESPN for the prelims, and then you had to go to ESPN Plus. I don't think casuals are going to be able to figure that out, no matter how good of a job you do of explaining what they need to do. Somehow they need to just get it on ESPN like the Ngannou Velasquez card was. Because next weekend they're going to do this thing where it's probably going to be the first couple fights on Fight Pass, then ESPN 2 has the prelims, then ESPN Plus will have the main card. It's too confusing even for people like me that can figure it out and is familiar with all that stuff, but it's a hassle.
I hate this new update that the UFC has on their website. It's like really inconvenient. It's annoying. I think they should go back to the old platform they had. It was perfect the way they had it before. Right now, it's like breaking my arm trying to fucking just look at
the card.
Yeah.
I use this app called The Score for all my sports because I get this in depth on football and stuff too. But the Score app is like sleek and smooth. It doesn't try to add pictures that don't load and their whole background stuff.
Wait a minute! I just realized something.
What's up?
I have this Instagram page called the MMA Mafia.
I think I've heard of it.
And I post all the news on there.
There you go. Pull up the card. By the way, I don't know if we said this in the beginning, this is the MMA Mafia podcast. That was probably pretty important to say.
Yeah.
The MMA Mafia podcast. Follow Robert's Instagram page, the MMA Mafia, and we'll be posting our podcasts on there. The links to them on there. I'm gonna we'll try to get this up,
and we'll
on YouTube.
Also keep you guys updated on every fight card that comes up. We're gonna do our best to keep you guys informed on everything. So as far as the card goes, Penne and Escobar.
That fight.
You saw that one, right?
No, that fight was pulled, right?
Yeah, because of what happened to her leg.
First she missed weight, then she
wait. Who missed weight?
Penne, right?
Penne missed weight, and then.
And then she rolled her ankle. She injured her ankle somehow. So she had to be pulled off the card, which was a bummer. She's a good MMA personality.
Barral Sanders. Did you see what happened to Barral?
Yeah, he got knocked out, right?
Yeah, he got knocked out.
Yeah. His days, I don't know. I'd like to know, was he juicing? Because people like him, people like Jose Aldo took a while to adjust to the non-steroid era, and I don't want to say they're on steroids because I have no clue, but it's just so weird how as soon as USADA comes in, these guys drop off so hard. like Eric Silva, their bodies
Brazilian guys.
I don't want to say that because I don't know. It just seems really that there's a correlation.
Like the timing is too like perfect for them to be
like their bodies changed. They can't take punches anymore. They have bad stamina. It's just weird. They don't have the same knockout power.
I think the only reason why Jose Aldo survived that whole ordeal is
because he was truly fucking skilled and talented. A true athlete.
Then we had Holtzman and my homie.
Yeah, that was one we talked about a lot. Yeah, Nick Lentz, congrats. Shout out to the homie Nick Lentz. Robert Rios is friends with him. Good win. He got his grappling off. Yeah, tactical. He got busted up a little bit on the feet. Holtzman's a fucking seemed like he's a powerful athlete.
A lot of people thought Holtzman was going to win.
I thought so too. But you can't sleep on a guy like Lentz, man. He's a veteran of the game. He's crafty. And he's landed those high kicks with a pretty good rate. Then
we had Ashley Evans Smith versus Andrea KGB Lee.
We were talking about this live. Angela Lee just seemed more fluid, more like a natural striker, where Ashley Evans Smith...
Andrea Lee.
Yeah, Andrea Lee. Apologies. Sorry. Ashley Evans Smith seemed very, very robotic, very stiff, telegraphed a lot of her strikes.
Like she reminds me of someone who's trying to be like kind of like a brawler, but like a robotic brawler.
Yeah, too robotic, no fluid motion. I don't want to feel like I'm shitting on her. It's just what I saw. I'm no athlete, as you could tell by looking at me, but just by what I saw, comparing her to...
He's joking. He is an athlete.
I played
Look
football.
At that belly.
I played football in high school, but yeah, she's just too robotic, too stiff. I don't see her going anywhere. If I'm being brutally honest, I don't see her going anywhere, and she didn't have what it took to beat.
You know of the band Suicide Silence?
Yeah,
she's like best friends with them.
Oh really?
Yeah, and that's how me and her became like pretty cool.
Ashley Evans Smith.
Yeah,
I could see it on her face. She looked like a scene girl. She looked like a couple girls.
No, she's not like a scene.
I'm not saying she is,
girl, but
she had the look. She just reminded me of a bunch of girls that I knew in the music scene in Stockton.
I can see that. Okay, so then after that we had Jimmy Rivera and Aljamain Sterling.
Crazy, man. Sterling looked really good.
Wow, that was like a weird one for me.
It's a tough matchup for Jimmy because he's really small. He's stocky. He's built like a tank. Short limbs, though, and he's kind of short. And Aljamain is the opposite. He's kind of skinny, tall, and lanky, which I feel like every time we see a top fighter, it's the skinny, tall, lanky guys, starting with Chuck, starting with John Jones, Michael Venom Page. They just seem to do better. The bronze isn't the whole thing, you know?
I feel like the guys who are, like, shorter, like Jimmy Rivera... Like, I feel like they load up too much with their punches.
Like Sean Shirk
they're
style.
They're very, like, short.
It's like they build up too much lactic acid in their shoulders and their punches to get there slow.
Yeah, and I don't know if that has to do anything with their training or, like, their coaches.
Maybe it's just the physical.
Maybe it's just, like, I mean, if I was, like, short and, like, I'm short, but I'm not that short. But if I felt like my arms were in there, I feel like I would be more comfortable, you know, throwing, like, the little...
Yeah.
So
yeah, but Sterling was doing a good job keeping the distance. He's an amazing grappler, of course. And Rivera's got good takedowns, but I don't think he wanted to play that game.
He did good with the kicks, though.
Who did?
Aljamain.
Yeah.
He did very good at
He was digging the toe into the body and all that stuff. Yeah. And he was doing that thing where they're throwing like 50% punches, really long, right straight down to the face and throwing the kicks in there, keeping the distance. And he wasn't loading up and trying to knock him out. He was just peppering, bop, bop, bop.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a good matchup, too. I thought they should fight because they both got knocked out by Marlon Moraes, right?
Yeah, they did.
So it's like the logical next step.
And then both of them were... Even though Rivera lost, he was like campaigning for like a title fight.
He got knocked out cold, and so did Sterling. Sterling wants a rematch. And I don't see that. It was too soon ago, you know?
I think
he will get a title shot someday. He's very talented, but I don't think he deserves it right now. One more win against maybe the loser of the title fight.
I would like to see Aljamain Sterling versus Rafael Assunção.
Assunção just lost, right? He just lost recently to...
Yeah, he did.
To... Who was it? It was a rematch.
Yeah, I think he lost to my dad. Hold on.
To your dad?
Yeah, and my dad beat his ass.
It was a rematch, and it was a decision, I believe. Which is a bummer for Assunção because he's been there forever, just winning fights quietly.
I don't know if he beat TJ, but he
beat TJ.
Yeah, he did, right?
He beat
and
TJ.
TJ beat him in the rematch.
And at UFC 200, TJ beat him in the rematch, yeah.
Yeah, so Assunção just lost to Marlon Moraes.
Who Assunção had previously beaten Moraes in the past, and that was a rematch. Yeah, so Marlon, dude, at 135, no one deserves a title shot more than Marlon Moraes. So yeah, Aljamain Sterling beat Jimmy Rivera, clear cut decision, and then what did it get finished? I don't remember. Was it a finish or was it a decision?
Let me see. Hold on. I closed it.
It's gonna take a long time.
No. Just.
Are you looking on the MMA Mafia Instagram?
Yeah, I'm like checking all these messages.
Follow us on Instagram, and then if you go to YouTube, we're eventually gonna get these podcasts up on there. If you search for the MMA Mafia podcast, we have a YouTube page as well.
Okay, I'm sorry. What was your question again?
What was the outcome of the Sterling and Jimmy Rivera fight?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, Sterling won by decision.
By decision. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the fight? What was the fight after that?
The fight after that was Miles Jury versus Andre Fili.
That was a good fight.
I like that fight.
Yeah, they were both fighting very similar styles with a long jab. I was
pissed off a little bit, I'm not going to lie, because I felt like Miles Jury could have done a lot more, and I feel like he coasted way too much.
I always feel like that in his fights, though.
Yeah, he just... I don't know what it is, like...
Maybe he thinks he's winning. I have no clue. I've never talked to him.
I would never want to, like, coast it and leave it to the judges, but... Yeah. Andre Fili was catching with some good shit, too,
Yeah, they're both kind of busted up, huh?
Yeah, they were both busted.
Fili won by decision?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty much a striking battle the whole time. And they were both throwing their jabs, but
Fili's jab was, like, on point.
Yeah.
Like...
They're 145ers, too. They're both very tall, skinny 145ers.
Yes. But I feel like Jury could have put him out because he rocked him like a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I feel like he should have stuck to the game plan.
Fili seems really big for featherweight. So does Jury. I think Jury used to fight at 155. When he fought Donald Cerrone, I think it was at 155.
No, that was at 145.
No. Donald Cerrone.
Wait, was it? Was it? Oh,
Donald Cerrone never fought.
Yeah, you're right.
155.
You're right.
And
My apologies.
I think Fili would have I think he drains himself to get to 145. He's so tall for that division.
Didn't Fili also fight at 135? I could be wrong about that.
I don't know. That'd be crazy though. He's pretty tall.
Okay, so then let's move on to Luke versus Barberina.
What a fight! Fight of the year candidate so far. We're so early into 2019.
It was a boxing fight too.
Oh, it was sick. I was like, oh, and I was messaging him during. I was like, that was the fight I was least looking forward to. I know Vicente Luque. I didn't really pay attention to his fights because he doesn't hype it up. I knew Barberina from when he upset Sage Northcutt. I know Barberina can talk some shit, but I know he's a warrior. That fight was sick. I was kind of rooting for Barberina.
The thing was, Barberina is a homie, and I wanted him to win. And I felt like he was winning the fight.
Yeah.
And you can ask anyone.
Dana said the judges, all three, had Barberina winning the fight.
Yeah,
and it was in the last 10 seconds that his knees landed, right? I think the 10-second
it was I think it was like a minute left in the fight. It was like a minute left in the fight, but Luque did a great job at like pulling him in, engaging him.
Kind of letting him up.
He like pulled him into his game plan. And we saw Barberina just say, fuck it.
Yeah.
He just tried to go with it. And I just
the first
knew.
knee was perfect.
I don't know. I just knew right when I saw him like engaging. I was like, why? Like,
yeah, you have the fight.
Don't do that, man.
One time you should go against your rule and coast to the decision.
Yeah.
But the knee was perfectly timed because literally right when Barberina's knees get off the mat, boom, Vicente Luque sends it right on the fight.
And then he hits another one.
So vicious.
Then he hits another knee.
Yeah. Vicious, man. Tough. It's tough. I think Barberina's stock still rises with that fight.
Yeah, of course.
Because Luque's not ranked, I don't think.
I think they got fight of the night.
Fight of the night, and he was winning on all the scorecards, so he goes out and wins his next fight. He's right back up there.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll be in, like, title contention, but he deserves, like, a top 10 opponent.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Luque for sure will get a top 10 opponent.
He will for sure get a top 10 opponent.
He's 8 of 9. He's, like, stopped all his opponents, I think.
Okay, this is the one I've been wanting to talk about the most. Caceres versus Gracie. Alex Caceres is, they call him Bruce Leroy because He's like a hardcore like Bruce Lee fan.
On the Ultimate Fighter, he would come out with the yellow jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Or the onesie. Whatever.
I don't know what they would call that because it was it's like a kung fu thing, I think.
Yeah.
So like, Alex Caceres was like, he's like the embodiment of a martial artist, like a legit true martial artist.
Yeah.
But ever since 1993, we knew that jiu-jitsu was like the true form of martial arts, and that's where Kron Gracie is from.
Yep. Direct lineage to
his dad is Hickson, right?
His dad is Hickson, who's Hickson's father is Helio, who along with his brothers invented Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu after Mitsu Maeda came to Brazil from Japan and he taught the Gracie brothers Jiu-Jitsu.
And Helio actually couldn't even train at the time.
He was like ill. He was sick.
Yeah, but he picked it all up just by watching it.
His brothers learned it, and then his brothers taught it to him. Yeah, and he picked it up by watching, and then he invented it for the smaller man. He had a son, Hickson, who many argue is the greatest, even much better fighter all around, and jiu-jitsu wise as well, better than Royce, which we all know. A lot of the hardcore fans know they chose Royce to fight in the original UFC fights because he was the least physically imposing of the family, where Hickson was like yoked and taller and thicker, and Royce was shorter and skinny.
And also Hickson had like an undefeated record at that time. I think he had, like, I mean, if you're close
in like unofficial Valedictorian matches, like 200-0.
200-0, and then Royce was just kind of like
they said he was the kid who would babysit.
He was like 180 pounds maybe
at the most. I think when he got down to like 168 before the tournament, and because he was trying to lose.
And they didn't have to cut that much weight.
No, they didn't cut any weight. Yeah. And so Royce, the Gracie family won the first 3 of the first 4 UFC tournaments, I think. And the only reason they couldn't continue in UFC 3 was because, or was it 2 or 3, where he fought the big Hawaiian guy or the big Polynesian guy. When he won by armbar, and the guy outweighed him by like 100 pounds. He came out with the Jesus cross and the Chemo Leopoldal or Chemo, and Chemo was hitting him with some punches, and he was so big and yoked and tall and on juice, and he was on top of Royce, and he was punching the shit out of him. But Royce got the armbar, and Chemo had never done that before and tapped out Chemo, but Royce couldn't continue. He probably would have won that tournament. But that was the only one he couldn't continue at the first 4, but he won 3 out of the first 4 tournaments. I might be wrong, but
at that point, he was 11-0, I think.
Yeah, he had the record for the longest winning streak for a long time until John Fitch matched him. But
and then he lost to Royce lost to Matt Hughes.
Yeah, that was I don't. The UFC's always proud of that moment.
That shit was.
I was like, what, man? This guy's old. He's not in any shape to be fighting a prime.
No disrespect to Matt Hughes.
Yeah, it's not Matt Hughes. If I'm Matt Hughes, I take that fight too. That's a money fight.
Okay, so then
back to Kron Gracie. Who is the grandson of Helio, who invented Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Trains with the Diaz brothers a lot, and Nate Diaz was in his corner. He beat Alex Caceres, who's no wimp, man. He's fought a lot of fights in the UFC.
20 times in the UFC.
A lot of big fights. He's beaten some guys.
And it was his UFC debut. That's crazy.
He came in like he didn't give a care. He had no cares in the world. He didn't look scared. He didn't have any octagon jitters. He came in. He did the striking thing for a little bit.
He looked like a fighter.
Yeah. Got the clinch. He looked like a
fighter, straight up.
Tripped him to the ground easily. Immediately took his back.
That back take.
It was over.
Dude, that back take, I swear, you should ask anyone that knows me. I was going crazy when he took that back the way he did. From a standing position like that, where he wasn't even like, sometimes you see the guys take the back from, like, if their back is against the cage.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, he took the fucking back from, like, being in front of him almost.
Yeah, nuts. Super high level. Almost like on another level that we don't get to see very often. Maybe Damian Maia, Nick Diaz has got that skill. I think Nick Diaz is better at taking the back than Nate. Nate hasn't really shown that skill too much. Nick has a little bit more. I always go back to when Nick took Carlos Condit's back like nothing against Carlos Condit. I feel like he could have
done that a lot
if he wanted to focus on his jiu-jitsu instead.
He could have done that in the first 2 rounds maybe.
and that's Kron. That's how it seems like. This is how Kron's gonna fight, and
I like that.
I don't think anyone could fuck with him at that. Is it 145? Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, some people are scrappy. Like if he keeps winning, he'll fight Max or he'll fight. Trying to think who else is at the top 145 right
Kron,
now.
I think Kron next. 145.
Who do you think he'd be a bit? Because you don't want to feed him to the wolves too. I think you want to cultivate that.
I think they tried to feed him to a wolf already.
I mean, for sure, Alex Caceres isn't a
20
chump, you know.
fights in UFC.
25 veteran of just UFC, and he's fought before that. But
I think they'll try to give him to someone.
I don't think they want him to lose. I think they want him to win. So I think they're going to give him another unranked guy.
Was Caceres ranked?
Probably not. I don't know. I might be
Damn,
wrong.
that's crazy. You know what's crazy
I don't think
about...
he would be ranked. I don't know
what's crazy about those guys like that is, like, you ever notice there's these guys who have been in UFC for so fucking long, but they're not ranked? Like, there's, like, the Joe Lozons, the Diego Sanchez, you know, like, these guys who have just been there and they fought everyone, but they're not ranked.
I know.
It's weird.
But
I mean, you know,
those are the guys that are in exciting
record.
fights, but they win and lose, but they're always in exciting fights.
Yeah.
So you can't cut them because they're good fighters to have around. Super
and they
exciting.
have name value.
Yeah, name value. Maybe they're old veterans, but they don't win on a consistent basis, so they can't be ranked. You know. Yeah, Kron Gracie looked easy. I'm sure it wasn't. He made it look easy, and once he took the back, it was a wrap. He got that choke. It was otherworld jiu-jitsu.
It was the sexiest back take I've ever seen.
I was watching the Joe Rogan Fight Companion at the same time, and they were tripping when they saw that. They were coming in their pants watching him take the back. Once he got the choke,
came
like,
a little bit, and then when they showed the replay, I came a little bit more.
Yeah,
and then it showed the replay again, and then I was just tried out
for sure.
Okay,
yeah.
So then after that fight, we had Courtney Casey and Cynthia Calvillo.
I'm a little ashamed of it, but I didn't pay attention much to that fight. I think I don't know what I was doing, but
I was half asleep.
I was kind of watching that fight. I wasn't too pumped for it. It's not that they're women. I get pumped for women fights, but that one in particular.
Women usually fight harder.
Oh yeah, like I mean the Andrea Lee looked really good. I was excited to watch her fight, but this fight I wasn't really into it. So I guess. You had told me that the hometown girl was Casey, and that the crowd thought maybe she won. She landed more leg kicks or something, and
she
maybe
hurt
did more
Calvillo
damage.
a lot more. I was like half asleep during this fight. No disrespect to either fighter, but I was like drained from a whole weekend of a bunch of shit, you know, in my personal life.
Yeah.
But from what I heard, it sounded like Casey was like getting the best of her in every exchange.
I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna go back and watch it. So maybe we'll just get back to that one instead of like continuing to talk about it. Let's talk about James Vick versus Paul Felder.
James Vick, Paul Felder. James Vick looked like a middleweight. He was so freaking big.
But doesn't he always?
He always does.
He's 6'3".
I know. He's as tall as Forrest Griffin, man. Cutting down to 155 is insane. And I'm sure he is drained, but he doesn't look drained. He looks good, which is weird to be that big.
He's never missed weight.
Yeah, to be that big. I can't even fathom it. And he looked good, but Paul Felder was just a step quicker and a little bit quicker to the punch every single time. Oh, I don't know if you heard. Paul Felder had a punctured lung.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that just happened overnight.
Crazy, man. I hope he's okay. And I know he was supposed to commentate on this weekend's card.
Well, everything is good with him right now.
He broke his arm too, no?
Yeah, he broke his arm, but his lung collapsed.
In the fight.
Yeah,
when he took a body shot. What a tough motherfucker Paul Felder is.
And he's already like healing up well right now. You know,
I feel like that's the second time he's broke his arm in a fight though, and I hope it doesn't become a thing where he just breaks something in every single fight.
It constantly happens.
That
makes me.
I love Paul Felder.
You're making me. I want to cry because you're already reminding me of the main event we're about to talk about.
Oh yeah. So the main event. So yeah, just to cap that one off, Vic was just a little late to. Felder just got there quicker every single time. I believe Paul Felder won a unanimous decision. I felt when I was watching it, he won. I mean, I don't want to say he dominated him. Vic had some moments.
He won.
But Paul Felder was just a little bit quicker getting there before Vic would get there. And I think even though it seems like watching the fight, I thought Felder did more damaging blows, but it seems like Vic may have landed the more damaging blows. But
Vic is not an easy fight for anyone. I think Vic could be like.
He should probably fight at 170. I think he'd be
That's
better.
what I was just gonna say.
He might be a little too drained.
He could be a force, at 170 at welterweight.
6'3" is big at welterweight. Tyron Woodley's only 5'11", standing on with
most of the best heavyweights are like 6 feet.
Oh, Kane is one of the best of all time. He's barely 6'1".
Daniel Cormier, what is he, like 5'10"?
5'10".
Yeah.
So, dude, Vic could fight at welterweight and probably not have to drain. Maybe have a better chin, not get hurt so easily. But yeah, Felder won that fight. I hope he heals up fast. And on to the main event. Super stoked. Velasquez is my favorite UFC heavyweight of all time. I'm a Fedor nut hugger. But
I'm a Fedor nut hugger too.
I love Fedor. He's what got me into MMA hardcore.
Fedor got both of us into MMA because he was the guy.
But I remember my brother-in-law I was talking about I think the first fight I ever watched was Forrest Griffin and Rampage Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Rampage Jackson. And the pay-per-view, I believe, is like UFC 86. And
leg kicks.
Yeah, he landed those leg kicks. And I was talking to my brother-in-law. I was like, well, Forrest Griffin. He's like, Forrest Griffin. He's like, fuck Forrest Griffin. He wasn't meaning any disrespect. He's like, the only MMA fighter you need to watch is Fedor. And so,
but that
me being a casual,
he was not a UFC fighter.
No, he was.
So you're like,
he was like in
if
Bodog
he's not
fight.
in the UFC, then why do I care about him?
I didn't even watch. Yeah, I didn't even know about Affliction. He was just about to fight Tim Sylvia, and
I think he might have been in. Oh yeah.
It was like, but he did after Pride. He did like Bodog where he beat.
I blame M1 Global and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I think he's not even with them anymore, is he?
He still is.
Oh. But yeah, it was right before Affliction. I was watching. He was in his prime. I was watching his highlights of him from the days of Rings when he fought in Russia was it Russia?
Yeah.
Rings. Yeah, he fought Rings, and then he was in Pride. I was watching his Pride highlights right before he fought Tim Sylvia in the first Affliction event. I was like, dude, this guy has like no holes in his game. He can take downs, grapple, knockout power, armbar for days from his.
Remember when he beat fucking what's that?
Hong
Choi. Yeah, dude.
7-footer. 7'3", 300 pounds.
That was
he took a little bit of a beating from the ground and pound, but he got the armbar on that dude. I was like, wow.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, I was like, this
you
guy's
get the
crazy.
win, right?
He got dropped on his head by Randleman, rest in peace. And most people would have been dead because it would have been so tense, but he was like perfectly calm, so he just allowed himself.
The monster, Kevin Randleman.
Yep.
Man, fuck yeah. Rest in peace.
Fedor was my favorite heavyweight. But back to Velasquez, he's my favorite UFC heavyweight.
Yeah.
And
he beat Brock Lesnar.
He beat Brock Lesnar.
He lost to Junior Santos in the first fight, but then he came back and just destroyed him.
He ended Junior's career, essentially.
Yeah, because Junior has never looked the same ever since.
He had a title shot. It was kind of sketchy against Stipe. That's why I think Velasquez is the best
Well,
UFC
the only reason
champion.
Why he got the rematch, it was a rematch. That's the only reason why he fought.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people thought maybe Stipe won the first time.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, I don't think Junior... I think that it didn't end his career. Obviously, he's still fighting. I think he's fighting pretty soon, but against Derek Lewis. But he would never look the same. He was always more timid. He could take less damage. It's a rough one for Junior, those Kane fights. And I think if Kane never got injured, and if he never got injured to the extent that he did, and if he was smarter when he fought Verdum in Mexico, if he went a couple months out like Verdum, get acclimated to the altitude, he would have had better cardio, because I feel like he's better than Verdum, and he just got tired so fast and got choked out.
Yeah, I have to agree. He's a much better heavyweight. He should have gone out there like months in advance. And then plus, he's Mexican, right?
Yeah. How do you not know this?
Yeah.
You gotta do it, man.
And you know what's funny is when they did the Ultimate Fighter, I think they did it against each other, didn't they?
Was Kane an Ultimate Fighter coach?
Against Verdum.
I didn't know. I stopped watching that show. So
and
I sporadically tuned
a lot of
out.
people were giving shit to Kane, saying like Fabricio Verdum has better Spanish than you.
Probably. It's probably
So-
true. Fabricio Verdum is a very intelligent guy. I think he knows several different languages.
Probably.
He knows Portuguese, Spanish, and like some other language. But yeah. Well, Kane's born here, right? And he he grew up wrestling and
he trains out of AKA in San Jose, but
Yeah.
he kind of grew up around like San Diego and
Arizona.
Yeah.
And so he felt like a hometown fight for him because he wrestled at Arizona, and a big Mexican population in Arizona. They were supporting him. And he came out and he was moving like the old Kane, but so he gets knocked out in 26 seconds. When I first watched it, I'm like, his knee gave out.
He didn't really get knocked out though.
Yeah.
I think it was his own body gave up on him.
I think so. I mean, I thought that too, but then there's certain angles where it looks like a right hand uppercut lands and it might. That might be what buckled his knee.
That definitely landed, but you got to look at the way Kane's like legs were when that landed.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's just because he's super classy because he was a class act after the fight.
Yeah.
In the ring, in the octagon interview, he said it was the 1-2 that landed. Then at the post-fight conference, I don't know if he got time to watch it or if he just wanted to kind of better his case for maybe a rematch or something. He said that it wasn't the punches, it was his knee giving out. And Ngannou says maybe it was my punches that made your knee give out.
That doesn't make sense.
Tough to say, man. It's tough to... Because when Crow Cop got knocked out, his knee got busted up too the same way. So I don't know if maybe if his lights getting turned out, his knees buckled and landed. Because that happens sometimes. People break their legs when they get knocked out.
But I don't know. You saw the way Kane fell. Like, it was like his knee, like, legit just buckled under him.
I almost hope not. I hope he just got knocked out and his legs gave up on him.
No.
Because if it's a knee injury, he might be done career-wise. I think he's
done.
It's sad, dude.
It sucks. I think he's done because if you look back on it, he got touched with the 1-2, the uppercuts and shit.
Yeah.
I don't think the first one landed clean.
Yeah, well, it's hard to see because the first shots don't land, but it's like the very last punch that Ngannou throws lands.
And Ngannou hits
so hard.
Apparently, he's the hardest hitter in the UFC.
Based on that little punching machine they have.
Yeah, but I would also argue that I think if you go back and watch that replay of Kane when his knee went kind of behind him a little bit and he fell on it, and you could see automatically he was in pain.
Yeah, he fell back. He was grimacing, like he was like yelling like his knee hurts.
And he automatically went down covering his head and Ngannou did what you're supposed to do. Yeah. Capitalize.
Yep. I think the way Ngannou was punching him, it
was going to happen. Ngannou was on him. Yeah. He was hitting him right.
I think Ngannou, it sucks for Ngannou. I'm as much of a Kane dick rider as I am. I feel like Ngannou probably isn't going to get the props that he deserves. Because
he will.
Because of the way it ended, they're going to say, well, it's not a true victory because Velasquez's knee gave out. I think Ngannou was going to win. I think he was going to win that fight. I didn't think he would win. I thought Kane could win that fight. It was a good matchup.
Well, he could have won.
Based on what I saw, though, I don't think physically Kane could do it anymore.
I don't think Kane should be fighting anymore.
Yeah, go to WWE like he wants to. He should. He'd be cool in that. He could wear the luchador mask and play that up. That'd be sick.
Rey Mysterio,
that'd be sick. Yeah, the heavyweight Rey Mysterio. That'd be tight. With the brown pride tattoo. Oh, it's perfect.
Shit. Well, how should we close this out?
What's the next? There's an event coming up this weekend on ESPN Plus. It's in Poland, I think. It's Jan Blachowicz versus not Derek Lewis.
No, Derek Lewis is fighting
Junior Dos Santos.
Yeah.
This weekend is Jan Blachowicz, and let me know who he's fighting. We'll post it on the Instagram, the MMA Mafia Instagram.
Yeah, guys, follow us on at the MMA Mafia, no underscores, nothing like that. At the MMA Mafia. And do you want to shout out anyone or anything?
Yeah, also go on Instagram, this is Stockton out LA. That's where we're shooting this podcast today. Check out our YouTube page, the MMA Mafia Podcast, where we're going to be posting these videos on there. We'll let you know on the Instagram page, MMA Mafia, where we are when we're about to broadcast. And
this is like our first actual attempt at this, so you guys got to give us some time before we
let us know where we sucked.
Yeah,
I know I probably didn't talk loud enough. I know I probably said too much.
And he probably tried to suck my dick. I mean,
probably.
And also, check out lovemma.com. That's one of my homies, Aaron. He runs Love MMA Apparel. They're like the best MMA brand for like underground MMA fans. But also check out rephard.com/the MMA Mafia or
rephard.com/MMA-Mafia. You get 10% off discount. Represent Nate Diaz's clothing line.
Yeah.
All right. This is the MMA Mafia podcast. We're out.
Well.